In a couple of minutes, I'm going to demonstrate what CodeAI can do for you. So you land on the CodeAI page and then you create a project and new project. You have the choices between Java Maven project or a Spring Boot project. So let's create a Spring Boot project. Choose the version. Let's call it CodeAI. And let's say hello world. Let's choose the dependencies. Let's choose for now just web. And now you have the choices between downloading the project, an empty project like you do with a Spring Initializer, or we can go a step further by creating a project and adding packages and classes to the project. So here we have the entry point for the Spring application, and now we can create a package. We can call it, change the name to controller. And in this package, we're gonna add a controller. So here you can pull this and you can change the name to, let's call it hello controller. And if you have here at rest controller, by the way, this is for implementation if you want to implement an interface or if you want to extend the class. And here you add a function, you call it hello func. And we will create it as a get mapping. And we give it a name of hello. So this is how you created the controller. You change the return type to string, and you can write a pseudocode here, return hello world. Okay, so let's keep it as pure English for now. So this is a controller that we created. So this is one way you can create a controller in CodeAI. Another way, if you want, you can create a custom component which doesn't have a specific. So these icons here, it's a specific kind of classes. This is a class, regular class. This is an interface. This is an inner class. This is a service, and this is a controller. As we are in Spring Boot application, so we will have all configuration and entity and repository, and at the end an enum. So, but the custom component actually it deals on a different level. So you deal like an IDE kind of. So you come here and you want to create a controller. So you say, okay, I will create it, the template controller, and then you type $ controller, and then you click tab, and then this is create the template controller that you have. You can change the name to hello controller, and you can change the endpoint to hello. And for sure, you don't need any of that for now. This is if you want to, like, a request body or a request param or so on, or header. So here, and then you give here the return type. You can come here. Let's keep it as response entity, and we can say hello. So this is the second way you can create a controller. Another way also, which is probably if you don't want to go into any technical details, you can just create a class by typing the $ and then click on class. You can take off the main function and you say this is a controller that has an endpoint name /hello that return hello world. And it would be a good practice. Maybe you can comment this too as so. So this is comes like your pseudocode for the project, for the controller, and you click OK. So right now you have also two options, whether you can download the project with the classes that you create with the pseudocode inside the classes, and then you let your developers to implement the code, or you can take another step and you can generate the code itself. So here we decided to go and generate the code, and let's see what this will do for us. It will take like a few minutes, and after that we will be downloading the Spring project, like like you do with the Spring Initializer. And here you can see this is a full implemented Spring Boot project. And here you go, you have the main entry point for the application, and then you have the controller package that we created with the three controllers that we've done. And here is the class. I think this is the one that we created, just a class. And here we can see it created for us a controller with the add get mapping, hello world. You just make sure everything is correct. Let's see the other way. The other class that we created, hello controller. This is, I think we used the, I think it's the same name, so we can't really tell. But this is the specifics that we added at request mapping, and then we say hello, and function response entity, and then we return a response entity with hello world. And the last one is the one that we created using the controller icon. And here you go again, we created the hello, and then we return the hello world. This gives you more of like control over what exactly you need to do. If you don't need like so much control, you can use any of the other way. So this is how you create a controller or a project with CodeAI. We'll come back again. So as of the last video, we created a controller just to demo what CodeAI can do. And let's see here what is other features that we have in CodeAI. So here, this is the class that we created with the controller package. And with the three controller that we have. So the advantage of doing this, so we created a project right now that maybe we need a template project, right? Like this is maybe something that we're gonna be using every time. So what we can do here, if you were to come here at Spring Boot, then you're gonna see the last project that you created, the last configuration of the project, the dependency, and so on. So if you click here, you see like the Spring Web comes back to you and so on. So this is another feature that we have in CodeAI. So the last 5 projects that you created will be accessible within a click of a button. So that's another feature in CodeAI. Also, let me explain to you this. So you can create a project. Let's say you created a project that you want to share it with the public, like like in Docker, for example, when you create an image or so. So this is the same way. So let's say that we created this project and we want to share it with the public. You could come here and then you read public, and then you give the project name, the description, and then you give the tag. Mainly the tag will be the dependency. I think the dependency will be added automatically, but you can give it like some words that user can search for when they want to look for a project. Let's say you created a project for database, H2 database and web, then you can create here H2 database and web, and so on. The other feature also, you can, if you don't want to share it publicly, you can share it with your own team. So you come here, you create the project name, the description, the tags, and then you come here, you add the emails of the people that you want to share the project with, and it's not going to be shared publicly, but it's going to be only shared with people that you included their email in here. So what else we can say? So here you can come here and you can see the last project. For example, this is a project that I created a while ago, connecting to H2 database in Spring Web. And here you can give it a thumbs up if you think it did a good job, or and it's going to be sorted by the highest rank first. And so here you click on that project, for example, you can access it, and then you can see what the this is user service, handle get users, get all users, delete users, add users, and here the controller, which is that was a service, that was a controller, get users, get user, delete user, and add user, and so on. And this is the repository, find by email in, and delete by email, and so on. And the entity finally is the entity for the user, which has an ID, an email, and a name, and so on. So once you create that, you can pretty much, if you want to use like a public shared project, you can open it up and then you can generate code. And once you click the generate code, it will be sent to our engine, and the engine will be pretty much with accuracy of maybe 90% generating the code for you. Oh, the other option is you can download the project as a project without the code, just a pseudocode in there. So it's 26 seconds, and let's see how long it will take. What other features do we have here? Here you go. It was about 40 seconds, and you can come here, you can see all the code is being generated for you. As the controller, it has the controller function. Let's open it with Notepad. Open, it will go straight to IntelliJ. Don't show this again. So here at rest controller with the get user, get users, get del users, add users, and so on. And this is just a project that somebody shared. You didn't really create, and so on. Similar is, entity is going to be the same. It will have the logic, or the pseudocode has been implemented in here. As you see here, stay light, open a project, stay in light. Okay, so you can see here that I add identity, I add ID and generated value, and so on and so forth. And this is pretty much what was the pseudocode that was in there. So let's see the other at repository, and if you click on it, it says here at repository, zip repository, and user entity, and long, and then you have the other functions for the repository. And finally, you have the service, which is the logic here, and you can see here that this is it converts, retrieve a user by email, and so on and so forth, and then it creates the code for you completely. We advise you to go through the code, make sure it's working. There will be maybe some changes and so on, but it will be, as I said, with a 90% accuracy that the code will be implemented. So that's one thing. The other thing also, that if you noticed while we're browsing here, that there was a test folder, and the test folder also is the unit test for all the function that you created. For example, for the controller, if you look at it, you're gonna see that this is the unit test for the controller, and similarly it will be for all the classes or all the components that you created for your project. So this is in a nutshell how you can get advantage of take advantage of CodeAI to bootstrap a project um, in either Spring Boot or in Java Maven project. So coming back to the project that we were looking at uh, from the public repository, let's go in details and see what is exactly happening here. So if you look at the service, you can see the functions are here, handle, get. Let's actually start by the controller. So if you look at the controller, you have the get user, get users, del user, del user, and if you hover over here, you can see here that it has a request body string email. Uh, so this is expecting to get an email to get the users by, and and here also it kind of communicate with the service. It's you can write this as a pseudocode. You can give it the service name, but I think this is would make it more accurate, so that you don't have to change it when you download the code. If you write it this way, if you're calling a function within another class, give it the fully qualified name so that it knows where it is. So that's pretty much the pseudocode for this function. Similarly, here is use service. As I said, use service to get like a list of users, and so and delete users also will do the same thing. Will connect to the user service. Looking at the user service now, what it does, it has handle get user, which handle the users, and it takes a string as an email, and it takes, it calls the user repository to get the user by email. So this is pretty much what we just wrote in here to tell CodeAI what to do to generate the code. And on the repository, it's pretty simple. There is just the interface and the function's name. And finally, on the entity, it kind of gave the member variables, and you can create the getters and setters here, or you can leave it the way it is, or you can use Lambda, and so that's what I talked to create that project that we just showed last time. So as of now, we created a very simple Spring Boot project, like a Hello World. It's, you can debate that this is very easy to create, but here is actually we taken it like a little more complicated. So here I created a class. I called it City Map, and inside here, if you look, I just give it, like the main function in here, and I said, add some cities to the graph and print them to the users. Ask the user to select the city source and the destination to check if there is a path between the two cities. So pretty much like a city map graph class that, it has a function get path and add vertex and add edges or add edge and so on. So, and I give it like pretty much like a very simple description of what I needed to do, and let's try to see what this is like. How is it gonna handle that? Uh, so if we were to save it and then we click on generate code, um, the assumption here is the CodeAI engine will pretty much convert all this pseudocode into real code, and like compile it to you, or put it to you in a Maven project. That actually a Maven project. You see here the icons are different. There is no the Spring Boot icons are not existing. So So here you go. This is the project that we just downloaded to the default package. We see the city map and the app. The app is the default class for the Maven project. And here's the class that we give it the pseudocode. And let's see what it did to us. Here we have the graph, the map for the graph, and then we get the constructor, add vertex, add edges as we specified, add get path that takes a source and a destination, and the whole code is being implemented for you. And here is the test cities or ABC or so, like mimicking the cities and so on. And here it asks the user to enter the city source and destination so that it looks up if there is a path between them and return the list, the path to the user. So that's a complicated one in here. You can play around with it and try your own things. If you have any question, email me at mali@codei.com or write me on LinkedIn. All right, thanks a lot.